よーし、張り切ってこう。あれがカーターの言ってた仕掛けかな。もらった鍵を使ってみよう。
やっやっやっやっやっやっそれ
すごいすごい。どこまでいけるかな。
それそれやっやっやっやっやっやっやっほっふっやっよっ
この宝箱もしかして
何が出るか
すっごいお宝が入ってたりして。
な。よし
白銀のやりほう。エリオットならきっと使いこなせるよ。
で
いざ勝負。すごいさすがだねエリオット。さらに強くなったみたい。エリオット逃げないで。嫌な感じがする。エリオット気をつけて。
見えた
エリオットならやれるよ。
見えたそこだ行くぞ
もう少しで倒せるよ。頑張って。
見えたここだ行くぞ
エリオットなら楽勝だったね。魔石のかけらを拾ったよ。新しい魔石作れるかな。
ほっよっよっ よよよふっふっよよふっ
うわー、すっごく暑いねここ。カーターが言ってた遺跡、どこにあるのかな。探してみよう。あの不思議な建物だ。また新しい力が手に入るかも。ここでは新しい魔法が覚えられるんだよね。ギューンって吸い寄せられるようになったよ。早速試してみよう。ねえ、あそこ私なら通れると思うよ。
フェイ、出番だ。
ギューン、扉が見えてきたよ。よーし、全部吸い寄せちゃうよ。これで終わりみたい。楽しかった。また新しい魔法を覚えちゃった。
よっよし、捕まえたぞ。
やったね、エリオット。この壁、あと少しで壊れそうだね。こんなところに洞窟の入り口が。よくここって奥に出口があるのかな。進んでみようよ。すっごい、さすがだね、エリオット。
よっ
すごい、すごい。どこまで行けるかな。
行くぞ。
空が溜まってきたね。
よっ
ねえ、あれ
さて、
中にお宝が入ってたりして。 険な感じがする。気をつけて。
よっふっふっふっふっふっ
や
ふっよっでっ
大きな岩だね。爆弾があれば吹き飛ばせるかな。
よし。
あ、魔力の源泉だよ。新しい洞窟だ。何が見つかるかな。
見えた。
力が溜まってきたね。
ふっでっ行くぞ。どこだ。見えた。行け。
私たちのいるところは
ふっふっふっふっさて何が入ってるんだ。よし。
やったー。エリオット強くなったね。
でっふっよっふっふっ
この場所を調べれば何か見つかるかな。
ふっよっでっでっあっふっふっふっふっでっよっでっよっでっでっあっよっこいつの中身はだ。
魔石みっけ。どんなことができるようになるのかな。
よっふっふっよっふっよっふっふっ
この山、溶岩が川みたいになっている。うわー、やけどしそう。今はこっちに行ってる場合じゃないよ。よーし、出発。
よっ
えい。
でっあっ 何が出るかな。
お金
悪くない。
たくさん手に入ったね。
見えた。
力が溜まってきたね。
そうだ。
今敵が落としたのなんだろう。
見えたじゃ。
えい。やあ。
見えたじゃ。よっ。
こんなに暑いところに建物？溶岩がグツグツいってる。お鍋の中にいるみたい。暑いよ。
よっ。
あれ、とっても強そうなやつがいるよ。
よっ。よっ。よっ。よっ。
エリオット、大丈夫？早く回復しないと。
うわー！よっ。よっ。よっ。うわー！よっ。
エリオットならやれるよ。
よっ。よっ。
もういいの？
うわー！
じゃあ行こ
見えた。よっ。うわー！フェイ、頼む。
う。チューイン。
うわー！フェイ、頼む。
着火の力見せてあげる。もういいの？
よっ。
じゃあ行こう。
ね。よし、いい子だ。
捕まえた。この先に進むとどこに出るんだろうね。あった。光る歯車がついている遺跡。この中に時の扉があるかな。強くなれば冒険も楽になるよね。早速やってみ。エリオット、すごい数の敵だ。頑張ってみんな倒しちゃおう。
フェイ、今だ。
今は無理だよ。
うわあ、うわあ、よっ、
わあ、エリオットが氷で動けなくなっちゃった。
フェイ、今だ。フェイ、頼む。
まだ力が溜まってないよ。すごい、すごい。どこまでいけるかな。宝箱がある。
さて、
早く開けてみようよ。
何が入ってるんだ。よし。よっ、
また力が手に入ったね。次も見つけたら挑戦してみようよ。この先を進めば新しい時の扉が見つかるかな。
行くぞ。
変わってきたね。敵が何かを落としたよ。火をつけられそうな場所がある。私の出番かな。
フェイ、頼む。
着火の力見せてあげる。
よっ、
場所も私の炎で照らせるよ。
ふっふっ。力を貸してくれ。
ギュー。この宝箱、もしか
何が
して
出るかな。
すっごいお宝が入って重そうなハンマー。すごいものを見つけたね。
何が出るかな。
魔石のかけらいっぱい手に入っちゃった。
よっ。ふっ。よっよっ。ふっふっふっ。よっ。でっ。よっ。ふっふっ。フェイ、出番だ。
燃えろー。
ふっふっ。フェイ、今だ。
着火な力見せてあげる。
よっ。
これに乗って移動するんだ。面白いね。
ふっ。ふっ。よっ。ふっ。よっ。ふっ。ふっ。よっ。ふっ。ふっ。よっ。ふっ。ふっ。
わあ、急がないとダメみたいだよ。
よっよっ。うわー。よっ。ふっふっ。よっ。
エリオット、起きて。エリオット。
フェイ、今だ。
燃えろー。
よっ。せいせいせいせいせいあせい。フェイ、頼む。
燃えろ
よっ。うわー。はっはっよっ。
よ
まずいな。
ここにいるやつら全員やっつけよう。その調子。
で
エリオットはやっぱり強いね。
なんとか切り抜けたな。さて何が入ってるんだ。
魔石みっけ。どんなことができるようになるのかな。
はっはっはっはっはっよっ。はっよっよっはっよっ。さて何が入ってるんだ。
魔石のかけらだ。たくさん集めるといいことがあるよね。
はっはっよっ。
すごいすごい。どこまでいけるかな。
よっよっよっ力を。何が出るかな。
中にお宝が入ってたりして。
よっよっはっよっよっはっ。さて何が入ってるんだ。よし。
うわー、豪華な鍵だね。よーし出発。
よっ
なんだかゾクゾクする。この奥に強い敵。わあ、出た。
見えた。
すごいやつ。やあ。
はっ
みたいだよ。気をつけて。あと一息だよ。いけいけ。エリオットならやれるよ。さらに強くなったみたい。エリオット、負けないで。
行くぞ。そこだ。
この調子で決めちゃえ。敵の様子が変わったよ。私たちも気合を入れないと。もう少しで倒せるよ。頑張って。やったー。エリオットは強いね。やったー。魔石のかけらだ。時の扉。次の時代で封印の手がかりが見つかりますように。新しい時代の調査に出発。私も冒険家みたいになってきたかな。ここは魔法の時代よりも過去なのかな。ねえ、今猫ちゃんの声がしなかった？
あら、おいで。
やったね、エリオット。向こうに橋が見えるよ。人が住んでるんじゃない？
行くぞ。ここだ。
にゃ。
あら、おいで。
やったね、エリオット。そうそう。冒険の道しるべを見つけたら忘れ。
待て。よそ者か？
怪しいものではありません。
怪しいものは
もう。
そんなに蛮族だ。
ああ、そうだよ。
ヒルクの言う
入族。
おい、
ま
よま
その
言う
やつやめ。里の者同士で争って何になる。頭を冷やせ。皆が掟を守ってきたからこそこれからもそうあるべき。見かけない顔がいる。
俺はエリオット、冒険家です。
取り調べはすでに済んでいます。問題はないかと。
俺はカイ、この里の長だ。
そうみたいだな。
それに
どうやら人々の
ヒル
何か
フォーガってどういう意味なんだろう。この時代の人たちはこれから魔法を覚えていくのかな。それにしても広い里だね。ヒルクって人はどこにいるんだろう。新しい魔石だね。魔石がたくさん入れられるようになったよ。何し火が出た。
あなたが
確かにそうだが、
今のは
そのつもりではい。魔法で様々な奇跡を起こしたというミュー族のようにはいかないね。
そのミュー族ですが、
そんなことを聞いて、
俺は冒険家ミュー族にどうしても会って聞きたいことがあるのです。
深い事情がありそうだね。最後にミュー族が現れたのは10年近くも前の話だ。里の近くに現れてね。当時の長が男たちを率いて追い払ったんだ。そのミュー族は北の雪原へと逃げていったそうだよ。
エリオット、聞いた？北の雪原だって。
10年も前の情報だが、手がかりが残っているかもしれないな。貴重な情報ありがとうございます。早速探してみます。
お待ち。もしミュー族に会えたら伝えてほしい。どうか我々里の人間に力を貸してほしいと。
ミュー族を恐れている人も多いようですが。
つまらん偏見に怯えているだけさ。神話の時代、ミュー族は大いなる災いを鎮めたとも言われておる。彼らは他の蛮族とは違う。人間と対話する理性を持っているはずだ。
わかりました。ミュー族に会えたら伝えてみます。
すまないが頼んだよ。
ミュー族の手がかりが見つかったね。北の雪原に出発しよう。
よし。よし。 よし。よし。よし。よし。 し。よし。よし。よし。よし。よし。よし。
宝箱、何が入ってるのかな。
とかと言いますと、もともとディズニーランド、アナハイムですね。アメリカのディズニーランドにアメリカ
給料を上げなきゃいけないよねとか、じゃあ
想像してみてください。理想のアプリを思いのままに作れる世界を。ベース40。
Welcome to the WDW News Today podcast. Thanks for coming back. My name's Eric Morton. With me today, Josh Benish. Hello, Josh. Welcome back.
Hey, Eric. Nice to be here.
We had a bit of a cliffhanger on the last episode. We talked about Tokyo Disneyland. Today, all about Tokyo Disney Sea. Excited?
It turns out that one resort needed 2 episodes.
That's true. It did. Unlike the Paris episode where we're kind of like, anyway, there's a studio park. Hey, we'll see you next time. See you real soon. So I'm really excited to get into it. If you just want to get to the meat of the subject, of course, you can just check the description. We'll have timestamps. You can skip ahead if you don't like things like eating treats and reading emails from viewers. Let's start this time with the voices of literacy. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, this one comes to us from Susan. Susan says, Dear Eric, can you guys rank the best Disney parks in the world? If you haven't been to them all, maybe rank the best attractions. Love the podcast. Regards, Susan. Thank you, Susan. Thanks for watching. If you want to email us a question, you can send it to eric@wwnt.com. Eric with a C. So, all right. I can't, in good faith, rank all the Disney theme parks in the world because I've not yet been to them all.
Great. Moving on.
So I am leaning on you for this one. And I think, despite not having been, by the time this airs, I will have been to several more, right? But I think even though I haven't been there,
what does it leave you without? By the time this airs, you'll have everything except Shanghai, Hong Kong?
Shanghai, Hong Kong.
Okay.
Right. Sorry, we have windows on the other side of this curtain. And not to ruin the illusion, folks, we're not really like on a big Broadway stage. So, so I will have not been to Hong Kong because I am a Hong Kong Disney annual pass holder because I bought one and then was unable to go to Hong Kong and they would not refund my money. Then Shanghai, but I will have been to all the rest of the. I know that the consensus is the worst Disney theme park in the world is Walt Disney Studios Park.
面白いことが書いてあったね。
Disney Adventure World. Is that true?
Is it true that it will be called Disney
すごいお
Adventure
家だね。
World? Yes, it will be called Disney
ここに
Adventure
里の人たちが集まっていろん
Well,
な
I
お
don't know
話をする
because
の
once
か
it's
な。
Disney Adventure World, does it go through some sort of apotheosis?
It will have
something
added
slightly better.
It will have added the World Frozen, right? You'll have a little frozen area and some new stuff, but I think the rest of the park remains basically the same with some new signage.
Yeah, so it's probably still the worst. Or the least good.
よーし、
So,
To put
出
a
発
positive spin on it.
I think this is where you run into a lot of disagreement, right? When you get to this sort of bottom quartile of Disney theme parks. And I
今は
have
こっちに
different
行ってる
opinions
場
from
合
a
じ
lot
ゃ
of
ないよ。
people. For instance, I have heard people say that Shanghai Disneyland is the creme de la creme. And I've heard people say, it's pretty bad. And I've heard stuff in
滑って
between
転
about
ばないよう
that.
にね。
What do you say, Simon?
I find it really in between. And like, what are we assessing it on? I think like there's 2 methods, right? Is it the park on its own merits in a vacuum, where if I was going to the park and experiencing a perfect day, where everything worked, like where everything worked,
エリオット前や
and
めるよ。
everything was okay, and there wasn't sort of in the absence of like guest and cultural interaction, in the absence of like I can't help but like it takes time and effort to get to Asia, coming from Florida, so that adds on to the transportation cost.
I don't think we.
And then there's the dollar, like, is it castle to castle to castle to castle? And then is it wholly, like, does nostalgia play into it at all? Does familiarity play into it at all? How do you
It's a tough question.
How do you do that?
Games are tough, right? And this is a classic. Like everybody's done this on social media and everywhere else. I want to do it in a way that we feel comfortable doing it. So if what makes you comfortable is how difficult was it for you to get to that park from Florida, you can apply that if you want.
I think
The word castle.
I think Shanghai's the word castle, and I say that from like a familiarity standpoint, from a nostalgia standpoint, from a functionality standpoint, from a just overall enjoyment standpoint. I dislike Shanghai more than any other castle park, and some of that might be nostalgia for the other castle parks, because I think if you're looking from the outside in, the Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom isn't exactly like the high watermark in terms of all of those things. In terms of sometimes you can have a really unpleasant day at the Magic Kingdom.
Well, right now it's also gutted, so
That
you're
which
getting
was the Magic Kingdom.
partial experience. If we're to go today, there would be no Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin. There is no longer Rivers of America. There is no Big Thunder Mountain right now. There's construction vehicles all over the place. The Haunted Mansion is covered with scrim. You can see the Haunted Mansion from a mile away because there's nothing in between it and Frontierland now. It's something.
It's in a cocoon, and it's about to emerge as a beautiful butterfly in the next 3 to 5 years, or whenever those construction timelines get pushed out to.
It could actually absolutely make a run to being the best castle park, right? At some point, just because it's gonna be so big with Villains Land and with the Cars stuff. There's gonna be an awful lot.
Something really special could happen there. But let's go back to whether or not is Shanghai the next worst park.
Based on things I've heard, I would say from information I've sort of aggregated from you, from Tom, from Jason. Yes, I have heard people say the argument has been made that Disney took all the lessons they learned from all of the other castle parks and built one perfect one, and it was Shanghai. I haven't heard a lot of people back that up, but that statement has been made in my presence by someone who wears a blue Disney name tag.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. I have also heard many contrary reports.
I think when you look at Shanghai, you have to ask yourself, okay, there's an effort to being a U.S. English-speaking Disney fan. It takes effort to get there. And that's just the reality of it. Yeah. So then you have to start summing up, like there's a value to like new, different, foreign. But let's break it down. The park itself, you either get a new pirate ride or you get the nostalgic pirate ride. Like my point there goes to the nostalgic pirate ride. Tron doesn't really have novelty value anymore because the exact same attraction exists at the Magic Kingdom here. Zootopia is a pretty cool land and pretty cool attraction. Is that enough to sort of overcome the other gaps in what I think are the Shanghai Disney entertainment program? Probably not. When like my foremost memory of like novelty and coolness for the Shanghai park is the ropes course, which is pretty cool and doesn't exist here mostly because
safety.
あれって音楽家さんじゃない？
ちょっといいか。あと1分。ああ、そうだ。チェロの音色に。いた。犬、風船、ドーナツの先に。あの楽器、チェロって言うんだ。まさに曲がってきた。うっとりしちゃう音色だったね。5、4、3。ここも見てもらえたし、一度中谷さんのところに戻ろうよ。今日も絶好調ですね。はい。
Hi Hideaki, what's your dream?
エネルギーに不自由しない社会を作ることです。
ねえ、エリオット。
子供の頃に石油があと40年しかないよという話を聞いて、
まだエンブレムには欠けてる部分があるんだよね。
飛行機も乗れないかもしれない。
ということはどこかにまだ残りのかけらがあるのかな。
そういう社会を作りたいと思って、今はカーボンニュートラル燃料 SAF を作るという技術を開発しております。
本当に油まみれになってテストしてても失敗ばっかりなんで、やってて意味あるんだろうか。でもエコマイでカーボンニュートラル燃料を使うと車が動くんですよ。ドライバーとして実際に燃料のパワーを感じるので、やっぱり燃料開発をやらなきゃってモチベーションをもらってます。サフ合成で作ったエコマイ用カーボンニュートラル燃料を採用してもらって、
この車を走らせることができるととてもいいなとワクワクしています。 The Power of Dreams How we move you。
ステージの炎さえあれば送り火の儀式はできるんだよね。
Yeah, or the
私たちのいるところは
lawsuits in the United States. Yeah.
よーし、出発。
I think, yeah, let's put it, I think safely there. Although my like unpopular opinion, if I can segue.
Yes.
I think the third worst park, or the least best, trying to be positive about it, is still DCA.
Yeah, so I think there will be a lot of California backlash for that because I think the closest analog to DCA is Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Disney's Hollywood Studios is a mess right now and has often been a mess for many years in different forms.
It's in a state of becoming.
Yeah, always in a state of becoming, which is what would let that maybe. I have to say, so it's hard also to separate out the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge because they have that right across the way at Disneyland. Like,
but they don't have it in DC.
They don't have it in DC.
So, like, I think you can't say, oh, well, the resort has that. Because by that value, if you said, oh, right across the way, or just a bus right away is this attraction, you would have 4 parks at the Walt Disney World Resort, all of which have interchangeable attractions. I think if you take it on its merits and you say, this is what is within the confines of DCA, you have, like, a Paradise Pier, which has a Pixarification. You have a thing that now inhabits Bugs Land. And if you think of like the people who are nostalgic, like if you're nostalgic for a land themed after A Bug's Life, which had sort of very A-B ticket attractions, maybe this Marvel thing didn't work out so well for you.
It must be said that, for my money, Cars Land is, it's like...
That's true.
Radiator Springs Racing, fantastic ride. Even the little kind of cheap flat rides there are really enhanced by the cars' sort of surroundings.
I think the placemaking is really good.
Yeah, the placemaking there is fantastic to me.
But the rest of the park is fairly forgettable still. Even like Buena Vista Street is an improvement because you finally put something that approaches a main street. But let's do dollar-to-dollar comparisons. Buena Vista Street or Hollywood Boulevard turning into Sunset Boulevard at Hollywood Studios. I think it still wins. I think Hollywood Studios wins the arrival program. I think Tower of Terror wins from a ride system and ticket attraction. Mission Breakout. Cars Land helped. But I don't know. That's my opinion. What's your third one?
So I will tell you, by the way, there are parts of my life where Hollywood Studios was my favorite. Yeah. I didn't have a whole lot to compare it to, right? I only had, at the time, the 3 Disney World parks plus Disneyland. And at one point, Hollywood Studios was my favorite. That does not really resemble the park that opened in it. If we are comparing Toy Story Land to Cars Land, and Landslide, to any other land in DCA,
Hollywood Backlot,
Pixar Pier, or any of that, then Toy Story Land, despite its many failures, is better, right? I think. Pixar Pier is unsightly. I think it looks cheap, and it cheapens the entire experience. That being said, I did go to DCA before the big changes, and it was awful.
It was worse.
It was worse.
Right.
So they have made it better. I do feel like those 2 parks occupy the lower portion. Right now, I think Hollywood Studios has many enhancements in progress. I think I would
危ない
much
ことは
rather
なさ
have
そうで
this
よかっ
Monsters
た
Inc.
ね。
land that's even though I love the Muppets, I didn't want to see them get replaced. I have higher hopes for this than Avengers Campus. Avengers Campus doesn't really connect with me very well, even as someone who is a fan of the movies. And
Also, just from a guest flow perspective, it doesn't really connect with the rest of the park very well.
Right. It's a huge failure, I would say, in that park. And the whole Hollywood area, the Hollywood background area and stuff is pretty forgettable.
It's on its way
墓だ
out
っ
as
たん
well.
だ。
I mean, it was forgettable in 2001. It continues to be forgettable, and it's on its way out. So
I find Buena Vista Street charming. I find like the live performances and things
長
like
い
that in
間
the Carthay
一
Circle
人ぼ
area
っちで
very nice.
私
I
た
find
ち
the
のいる
food
と
at
ている
DCA to be
のと
very
ても
good
寂しいよ
in
ね。
certain places. I've had when we do the Food and Wine Festival there, it's always better than the food at the Epcot Food and Wine Festival, for instance. There is a certain cultural gravitas towards like Southern California. I think there's a lot of, you go the right time of year, and there's really good Mexican food at the festivals, for instance. There's really good.
この先の森にあるって
A
言っ
lot
て
of
たよ
even
ね。
the stuff in San
早く取りに行こう。
Francisco also very good 14 park food compared to Hollywood Studios. I don't know. I think the two of them could. We could
although Hollywood Studios wins for sit-down restaurants,
just
because
Brown Derby is that
Brown Derby,
Yeah.
prime time, sci-fi.
theme dining at Hollywood Studios is super. It's kind of a toss-up. I would say I would probably rank it with you. I have a deep fondness for some of my experiences at DCA. Some World of Color experiences I've had there, really tip top. That whole rest of that area of the park is kind of. I wish it would go away. All of Pixar Pier and that area. They could start over, please.
Again.
Start over. Again. But I would say, like, yeah, they would rank towards the bottom.
Okay. Are you willing to give it third worst?
これでいつでもこの場所に来れるね。
It's hard for me to say, not having been to Shanghai.
So you're sort of neck and neck.
I'm doing this kind of with things I've heard, YouTube videos I've watched.
So we've locked Shanghai, right? So it's whatever.
It's that next slot of Shanghai. It's these two.
And I agree with you that it's probably Hollywood Studios right now, at least. Yeah.
This is going to get tougher as we go along, right? Because I think there are the castle, as far as castle parks go, it's going to be hard to say that there's something better than Disneyland because it's the original and has a tremendous amount of nostalgic power. But it's hard for me to push the Magic Kingdom down so far.
Because of
what
it is. Because of Magic Kingdom. Yeah. So
and I have such an affinity for Epcot, even though Epcot is a shadow of what it used to be. Epcot is the park I go to the most. Epcot is the easiest for me as a local to just buzz in and buzz out when I want to meet friends. Epcot, it has a little something for everybody. So I know a lot of people say, oh, Epcot belongs down there in that like lower half. And I just can't make myself do it.
I hear that.
So, and again, here's where I'm going to get in trouble. What other thoughts I deal with is, I know people who think Animal Kingdom is the best theme park in the world.
Who are those?
I know people that think Animal Kingdom is their favorite Disney park. Or their favorite Disney World park.
You hang out with a weird crowd.
I do know some weird people.
Despite its
many charms, I don't have a great affinity for him. I like it. I think there's great moments in Animal Kingdom. But it's not a place that I like. It's not a place with a gun to my head that I'd be like, okay, this is the best part.
My approach to Animal Kingdom is this. What does it do to stretch the frontier of the creative endeavor that is theme parks? How much of it is sort of unique unto itself, and unique unto itself not just for the purpose of being unique, but unique in a way that works functionally as a theme park and is entertaining to a broad swath of the population still? And I think that's where Animal Kingdom sort of moves up in the power rankings for me.
Yeah.
As someone who, like, as you watch it undergo sort of its state of change and the alterations from what it was in 1998 to what it's now becoming, it still is fairly consistently centered around a message. The message is distinct and different and a complement to the other parts of Walt Disney World and a complement to sort of the broader Disney parks and experiences.
I think it's ace in the hole is repeatability, right? Because you can do many things in Animal Kingdom over again and not get the same experience. You know,
無断
it's
で
like
壊せそうだよ。
you can.
Well, that's the magic of live animals.
That's the
right?
magic of the live animals
Yeah.
and things like that. You can go on a safari 3 times a day and get.
この調子で進もう。
Some of that has to do with whoever's driver
So this is where I get stuck because I can make a case for all of these parks being like upper 2 or 3.
I know, but we're burning through a lot of time on this question, so let's rapid fire it. And we'll respond in the comments accordingly, but I think we just need to start
So
making
we start
decisions.
at the bottom with Walt Disney Studios Park. Then we had Shanghai. Then we have the other two Hollywood Studios and DCA. Basically.
Sure.
So now that we're kind of just.
Where are we working Hong Kong into this as well?
So I've not been to Hong Kong. What I'm told is Hong Kong is a very charming park. Part of that's because it's never very crowded. Or it tends to be less
やっ
crowded.
たね、エリオ
Yeah,
ッ
but
ト。
charming only gets you
あ
so
の不
far.
思議な建物だ。
One attraction.
また新しい力が手に入るか
All
も。
the grizzly stuff.
That's cute.
この場所。
But I don't know.
なんか怪
Are
し
we
い
putting
け
Hong
ど。
Kong right there?
I think Hong Kong is probably the second worst castle park.
Okay.
I think it's fairly fair to say that.
Then I think we put it there.
I think it goes in that next band down with DCA Hollywood Studios, Hong Kong Disneyland, and then I think you get into sort of the upper tier.
Right.
And I think Animal Kingdom is probably, let's put that sort of right on the bubble.
Okay. Bubble.
I'm comfortable there. And all of that has to do with Epcot nostalgia. It's useful. And again, that's very similar to the Animal thing, where like there's not the natural progression of Epcot and its evolution from what it was to what it is now, and how different it is.
Right.
You ask yourself the question of, if I had to go to one theme park and not the other, for the
Epcot,
and I think the answer for me is Epcot, and the answer for you is Epcot.
So I can't have Epcot. And now we're left with basically 3 castles.
敵が何かを落としたよ。
Right? We're left
Well,
with...
and that other one.
I'm sorry, we're left with 4 castles. We have Paris.
Yes.
We have Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
We have Tokyo, and we have Disneyland.
Yes.
And I think you have to, based on what I've heard, say the Magic Kingdom ranks 4th amongst the castle parks.
I think it's a toss-up for me between Disneyland Paris and Magic Kingdom.
Okay. Well, what I'm told...
Again,
by the time this airs, I will have a much more well-informed opinion.
On its own merits, Disneyland Paris is a really attractive park.
Okay.
But it's only a really attractive park by virtue of sort of these differences and these nuances and these slightly different cultural and design approaches when you're deviating from that which is the tried and true castle park. So then you need a tried and true castle park. You need the prototype. And I think that's where you get into the, like, is Disneyland Paris the natural progression from the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World? Or is it sort of the great leap worth of natural progression from the 1955 Disneyland?
So here's a way I'll break this down. If we want to compare the Magic Kingdom to Disneyland, who has a better Main Street? Disneyland Paris. Right?
Correct.
Who has a better Frontierland?
Well, right now? Yes. Disneyland Paris.
Even so.
Who has a Frontierland?
Yeah. And they also have the best Big Thunder, right?
エンブレムのことは分かったけ
Big
ど、
Thunder in the world.
あの人たちのこと。
Phantom Manor, I guess, is in their Frontierland. Is that?
Yeah, that's right.
That is a version that people really feel strongly about.
Sure.
放っておきないね。
Versus Tomorrowland, the Magic Kingdom, it's no contest, right?
That's no contest.
They're the
You're
best
right.
Space Mountain in the world, by what I'm told is a wide margin.
Even with the overlay as a distraction, sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the 20K walkthrough and everything. So now you're really left with Adventureland versus Fantasyland. Is that what we're looking at?
That's probably true. Yeah.
Adventureland and Fantasyland versus one another.
No, I think we can say, I think we can safely say, based on that lineup, it's Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, and then it's Disneyland Paris's.
So Disneyland Paris is above.
Is
Magic
above,
Kingdom.
yeah.
Okay. So we have Magic Kingdom coming in above Hong Kong. Above Magic Kingdom, we have Disneyland Paris.
Right.
Okay. Now we get into, well, we have 3 parks left. We have Disneyland, we have Tokyo Disneyland, and we have Tokyo Disney Sea.
他に音楽家さんいないかな。
I think, based on what I've seen, that ranking 3rd amongst those 3 would be Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland.
求人たっぷり自分のペースでマイナビ転職 悩みも不安もプロに相談。マイナビ転職エージェント。
選べるみんなの転職窓口へ。
マイナビ転職。
江戸川区の皆さん、6月12日に家電量販店のエディオンホームズ火災店がオープンします。
I think that's fair. I think this gets really hard where you say the original Disney, it's nostalgia versus what is sort of operational perfection and something really sort of packed in tight. But I think it is, I think Tokyo Disneyland Park loses out to Disneyland. One, because of nostalgia, and two, just because of every square inch of Disneyland is so magnificently unique. Everything into one another, and so you not only get the original versions of some things, but you get sort of the best enhancements on other things and the best implementation of space on other things. And it's the only park with Mr. Toad in it, so doesn't that like move it way up in the power rankings?
And it's built in like, I would say it's built in layers, right? Disneyland is like, you know, there's things that's going above you, and there's things going on in front of you, and there's things going that you can look down at. You know, you have, and the way these things are wedged in, you'd never know that Mr. Toad is in the same building as Alice in Wonderland. You know what I mean? Like all of the clever use of
the existing
sort of
real estate,
illusions of scale. And honestly, now when I go to Disneyland, the scale, it's not even this cute little park because Galaxy's Edge, like you can walk for a while in Disneyland.
It turns out,
yeah. Turns out that it's actually pretty spacious in some ways, and there's a lot to do with it. Disneyland has really good entertainment. Disneyland nighttime entertainment, when you talk about there's a parade, and right now there's a projection show on It's a Small World, and there's how many different vantage points of the fireworks that are like really high demand, from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to Rivers of America to Back by Small World to in the Hub. You know, all these different sort of ways that they can create different versions of the same show. I think the creativity for like making a small space do a lot at Disneyland is so special. And I don't have the Tokyo. I know Tokyo Disneyland, like you said, operational perfection, right?
Right.
Hard to compete. But I think, based on what I've been told, what I've seen, that Disneyland edges it out. Right in style. Right, this is the park where Walt.
There's a lot to that, and that's okay. I think I'm not going to sit here and argue that a first-time park goer that nostalgia doesn't mean anything, because I think it does. You can be a first-time park goer. You can be a new arriver to the community of Disney Parks fandom. And you walk through Disneyland, and you understand that there's a patina to it, there's an age to it, there's a gravitas to being there and to what it is, because it is just, it's that extra little bit, and I think that's what edges it out. But the obvious question then is, how comfortable are you putting Disney Sea in that preeminent position over the original?
So,
because around here, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of controversy to that. But do we live in an echo chamber where what I'm going to hear is a lot of people saying, like, well, how could you possibly say that there's anything better than Disneyland?
So here's what I'll say. Tokyo Disney Sea is something that creatively was not an offshoot of a Disney of a castle park, right? Where a lot of these, like, okay, Disneyland worked out, and it's got this. Disneyland's the same thing, right? It did its own thing, went its own direction, created its own thing. And Tokyo Disney Sea is like, but there's nothing really like it. It's not a clone of some other park. It's not a tribute to some other sort of wink, wink park. It is its own thing where they, my impression is, they let Imagineers go wild and do crazy things with huge budgets, with very few things around them. And so, like, to borrow a phrase from the kids, it's like they let them cook, right? You know, like let the Imagineers cook. So to see imagination set free with very little constraint for budget and all those types of things, even Disneyland, like huge budget constraints, right? And it's grown over the years and
Sure.
Tokyo Disney Sea, widely recognized as like the greatest theme park.
I think with Tokyo Disney Sea, you get this. You get the operational excellence of the Tokyo Disney Resort. And you get this, what do theme parks say? they transport you.
この町には2つの研究所があるんだね。
They transform you through inspiration. They entertain you. And they keep you on a quest for adventure. They keep you sort of going down the pathway towards wanting more. And if they can deliver that and deliver that across the board, they win as a fully transformative experience. And that's what I think Disney Sea does. It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
And the reason it's my favorite part is because of those things, and because of it's the layers of detail, the layers of depth, the layers of storytelling. It's Imagineers' sort of unbridled from a creativity perspective and from a budget perspective, but it's also supported by entertainment. There's live entertainment, and there's shows and spectaculars, and all of the layers of a theme park. It's not lacking those things, and to the extent that it was lacking something, it was probably lacking that extra little bit of Disney. And Fantasy Springs just fixed that. Right? When they did the Fantasy Springs, when OLC did the Fantasy Springs expansion, they fixed that aspect of it, and they introduced classic Disney characters, new and old, and that fantasy aspect to things. And it ticked that last box. And there were a lot of sort of attempts and thoughts at what to do by way of expansion. And they kept it thematic. Fantasy Springs around sort of water, with ports of call and water and that sort of thing. But they made it distinctly Disney, to borrow a Bob Iger phrase. And I think that's why it just wins across the board, is that you get to be so many places and you get to do so many things. And it is actually hard. It is impossible because of the shows, because of the attractions. I won't say impossible. We'll say very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to say, I'm going to give one day to Disney Sea and that's going to do it for me. You're not going to be happy. It's going to leave you wanting more. I just had a friend come back from Tokyo. And I said, well, okay, budget like a couple days for Disney Sea, but like you should keep like a gray area day in there. That like, if you feel like you're done, go do Tokyo stuff. But I don't think you're going to be done. And I think, and I think that it's that. It's I don't think I'm done here. And I think that pays dividends in terms of the power ranking.
Did we properly slot Epcot and Animal Kingdom in here?
I feel like we did. We put them in
there. That sort of center band.
That center band, yeah.
So, I didn't mean to take so much time with the mailbag, but it was an interesting topic, and we'll do that. And thanks again, Susan. I hope look, tell us in the comments, and none of us are going to agree. This is something people are very passionate about, especially with not making Disneyland number one. I feel like Disneyland checks a lot of boxes for number one, but there are other things to consider.
It would be a really hard segue into the rest of the episode, which is a Tokyo Disney Sea Love Fest, to say, oh, well, it's the second best park on Earth. So, I mean, let's, I think there's a strong argument for it to be number one, and I invite the controversy that we bring with that.
急ぎの部品ならミスミ、今すぐ欲しい消耗品、機械部品でも納品まで時間がかかる。ミスミなら17時までの注文で最短当日出荷。ものづくりの消耗品、機械部品はまとめてミスミ。まずはミスミで検索。
汗に匂いに予防発動8フォーメ朝塗るだけ1日脇汗ブロック。
ここって奥に出口があるのかな。進んでみようよ。
汗を気にして自分を出せる。
Well, there you have. Josh, have you heard about the Carousel of Products?
No, Eric, tell me more.
Carousel of Products is our merchandise arm, where you can get rock and roller coaster merchandise, you can get Gurney merchandise, we have it all. Go to carouselofproducts.com. It's a great way to support us. A new shirt rolled out for rock and roller coaster that I think is really great. That's on pre-order, and right now in our whatever you want. Please check it out. Great way to support us. Now
that sounds good.
This is from our friends at trytreats.com. And you go to trytreats.com/subscribe. You use the code WDWNews. Get a 15% off discount on your first box. Monthly boxes come out full of snacks. Usually, so far, they've been celebrating different countries. This one is from Mexico. So we're going to try a couple treats from Mexico. What do you want? You didn't have those last time.
don't know. What should we do this time?
A Carlos V stick. And here's a big bag of soggy balls.
Named after Carlos V, the king of chocolate. Chocolate from Mexico since the 1970s. Rich smell and unique powdery taste. You will better understand why Mexicans think this is the #1 chocolate.
Okay, so I'm trying to find another treat for us to try in here, and I usually like to do a sweet and savory. This one is like Japonese Nishiyama, so it's some kind of Japanese treat in Spanish. And
By De La Rosa. Japonese Nishiyama by De La Rosa is a premium Japanese-style peanut, delicately roasted and coated for a light, crisp crunch with a savory, sweet finish. Japonese Nishiyama.
So it
already has points for me because these are anthropomorphic peanuts that are eating peanuts. Unpack that. So they found a way to make peanuts drier. Right? In case you were wondering, how do you deprive peanuts as a snack from having any sort of moisture? They found a way to take even like the sort of goodness that is a peanut snack out of it by putting it in this crunchy coating, and it leaves your mouth full of peanut flavor but positively parched.
this is weird. I get a taste that's almost like a sunflower seed taste. Did they like fry them in some sort of sunflower oil?
Possibly. Let's see.
Got a vision. Sunflower seed after.
It is almond, milk, coconut, and products of oat and egg. They're very dry, aren't they? That's like a... I mean, I like peanuts. These are not among my favorite peanuts. I'm like a 4.
How many Mexico pyramids are these? 4?
3
to 7?
3 to 4.
I would put these on the bar because these will definitely make people thirsty. If I own the bar, it'd be on the bar 24/7. All right.
I think they get a 4 because of the cartoon character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, this is a Nestle product, the Carlos V stick.
I assume it's Carlos V.
Named after Carlos V, the king of chocolates, has been a staple chocolate bar in Mexico since the 70s. With its rich smell and unique powdery taste, you'll better understand why Mexicans think it's the #1 chocolate. Powdery taste.
Powdery taste. You'll better understand why Mexicans think this is the #1 chocolate. You might not understand why other people think it's the #1 chocolate.
All right, I can get behind that idea. I don't have to agree, but I can at least understand.
This is really about... They're not lying with the powdery. I didn't know that powdery was both a taste and a texture. I thought things could feel powdery, but it turns out that they can also taste powdery.
I'm not in love with it. I don't hate it. You're fine. Maybe it's fruit powder.
It's like a...
They're not terrible. Again, I like try treats because we can try these different things and have opinions. This one...
Does this remind you of like chocolate that would be in like a survival box? Like if you were like in...
If I were like an MRE.
Yeah. Or like open the... like the pouch that says do not open except in the case of an emergency, and like this is what's inside it, and then you're like, well, I can eat this, or I can like trade it for pantyhose and cigarettes, and you're like, well, let's trade it.
New currency. Yeah. Pantyhose. I don't dislike that much. MRE, I've eaten a lot of MRE chocolate in my day, and honestly, when you're in a pinch,
isn't that...
when you've been in a field for a long time.
But that's all American Hershey's chocolate, isn't it usually? Well, which
I think the cold weather one, when I did the cold weather training, I think also, there's new MREs that I'm old. Yeah, this is below.
2.5
Mexican pyramids. All right, let's put this away.
Sounds good.
With the trees. Thank you, Fred. This show is brought to you by the WWNT Inner Globe Society, the Wigs. You can support us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/WWNT to find out more details. Sometimes you get to watch us do this nonsense live. You get discount tickets to events and shows, early access to events. Please, it's a great way to support us, WWNT Inner Globe Society. Thanks a lot. As you know, I'll be traveling to Tokyo Disney Sea. By the time I get there, you will be there. I'll see you in the airport, I think.
I think so.
And we've talked about Tokyo Disneyland extensively on the last episode.
I think I got you to Tokyo Disneyland and through your first successful day of Tokyo Disneyland, and now we get to wake up.
There's a volcano out my window.
Quite possibly.
Possibly, I don't know. And look at Tokyo Disney Sea, what we have ranked, what my dumbass has ranked as the #1 theme park in the world without having gone to
I've managed to convince you that a park you've never been to is the best Disney park that you'll ever go to.
Imagine that a lawyer had a convincing argument.
Oh.
So, I've been hearing about this park. Everybody says it ruins Disneyland. Like, it ruins, like, you go there and you're like, I don't want to go back to this place. I just maybe it's the combination of both.
So some among us have tried that, have they not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, I've heard a lot about many of the attractions here. And while we're there, 2 attractions, both of which I think are ones I really wanted to go on.
Is that where you're starting?
Closed.
You're starting with all the positive energy of the closed attraction.
I want to get it out of the way.
Okay.
Tokyo Oriental Land Company famously obsessive about them. They will take rides down. Here, we'll take them down too, but they're
okay.
very...
You say obsessive. I would say maybe that's what we should expect. Comfortable? Maybe they're comfortable with annual maintenance routines that support show quality.
Okay. I guess what I'm getting to is they do maintenance, whether there's crowds coming or not. They gotta do maintenance. And 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea will be closed.
That's sad.
Sinbad will be closed while we're there.
With Chandu.
With Chandu. I've been told it was Chandu all along, and Josh had to correct me that it's Chandu.
So
very adorable tiger.
I would phonetically pronounce it Chandu, but I know that the Japanese park goers pronounce it Chandu, so I'm leaning into that pronunciation.
Hopefully there's still a lot of Chandu merch available because that's an adorable tiger.
He's very cute.
Very cute. So with that out of the way, I will not be riding either of these 2 attractions. Let's get to the actual beginning now. I'm at the front gate of Tokyo Disney Sea. Is it the same thing where I'm walking a gate and obsessively spam buttons?
It's worse. This is like the worst one, right? So I think when we were talking about Tokyo Disneyland, we were talking about how there's really nothing here other than maybe like a 40th anniversary priority pass that maybe you can get or maybe you can't get. There's nothing that probably is going to impact your Tokyo Disneyland day. Your Disney Sea day is totally opposite. If there's like a day to
competition,
if there's a day to wake up and enter into the blood sport that is Tokyo theme park attendance, it's today.
Okay.
Because it is all about
get my fingers warmed up for my.
It's all about securing those priority passes that actually sell out in this park. But it's all about securing those priority passes, particularly to the Frozen attraction and to a lesser extent to the Peter Pan attraction in Fantasy Springs and maybe the Tangled attraction.
Okay.
But it's Frozen. Like, this is about Frozen. The blood sport of this is about getting that Frozen priority pass.
Okay. That's key. Now, it used to be when Fantasy Springs first opened, you needed a pass just to walk into Fantasy Springs. Is that no longer the case?
And you can now walk in.
Yes. That's great. So walk me through my entrance into the park. Let's assume I've secured whatever pass.
Do you care? It's almost the entrance, it's the exit from the park because you're so single-mindedly focused on getting to the day that you need to have that you're sort of breezing by all of these very cool things because the entryway to the park it's the Aquasphere, which is it's channeling a little bit of Epcot energy, but doing it in a very Disney Sea style. Tell
me about it.
They're kind of two icons to this park, right? So Mount Prometheus is its own icon. You build a volcano in a park, it's inevitable that it's going to be an icon for that park. But that's true. It's a wild place to shop and eat. The more sort of, I don't know, how would you put it? It's the entry icon. Let's call it the entry icon. That whole entry plaza. So you can come in from two sides of the entry plaza, and there's just a giant rather than having sort of an entry plaza that's like funnels into Mediterranean waterfront in the Porto Paradiso area. They decided to build a block which is a globe and a fountain and a musical experience and an evening light experience also. And so,
like, compare this to like the Universal Studios globe.
It's solid. Universal Studios globe is less solid. This is it's big. It's big and it's just kind of a cool bit of placemaking. It's actually, at some point during your day or at some point during your trip, it's a very pleasant place to just sort of sit down for 15 minutes and listen to that soundtrack, which is especially composed for the area. And just breathe that in is like a weird thing. It's that little bit of like futurism. It's a thing that actually carries forward as a design element from way back when this wasn't originally a Tokyo planned project. It was a Long Beach project, and it was a little more futuristic and a little less focused and fantastic.
Alright. Well, and it's worth pointing out, right? C is its own society of explorers and adventurers. Sort of origin in this park, and the touches to it everywhere.
Not everywhere, I would say.
No.
I mean, the fortress exploration area, that's sort of the medieval area, that's kind of it's a weird...
It's like 1500s.
Yeah. It's like castles and fortresses. The age of exploration. That's where Mattel's restaurant is, and there's a sort of scavenger hunty walkthrough thing, and a pretty cool ship that you get to explore. And I mean, it's more than pretty cool that the ship actually sort of creaks and rocks back and forth.
Oh,
like
cool.
You're like, well, this could have been a static set element, and you decided to make it 5 times better.
That's sort of a theme of this place, right?
Yeah,
they could have done less, and they chose to.
Yeah, when you as a park goer are like, well, here are the 5 ways we could have value engineered this, and you chose none of those. You actually chose to do like the thing that I didn't even think about, because in my head I would have said, well, I'm very happy with just a static ship. What do you mean you want to make it rock back and forth with like a soundtrack of sub-creaking like an ocean-going vessel that's moored in a harbor? But that's neither here nor there.
友達がやってるし、始める時は大体そんな理由。バイトも就活もそう。置いてけぼりは不安だから。でもこのままで
閉じ込められちゃった。
うちの人生誰が責任取ってくれるんだっけ。うちじゃん。
開けば変わるよ。オープンアップ。
世界のバランスを支えている存在について考えてみたのです。水がなければ花は美しく咲けなかったり、私たちも無数の酸素に生かされていたり、普段は意識されないものこそが実は世界を完成させている。つまりラテならミルクってこと。
道が見当たらないね。
世界はミルクで完成する。明治おいしいミルクシリーズ。紅茶も出た。
そういうことか。
C takes on a life of its own. It's almost it's sort of a design afterthought, a society of explorers and adventures. It gives like a backstory to that land, but it wasn't really part of the park in an integrated way. It was a way of taking the word sea, an English word, and introducing it to a largely Japanese-speaking park-going crowd in a way that is sort of that extra layer of play on words, the sort of like English language pun, if you will.
Right. And now this has spread to all theme parks, all the Disney.
Well, now it's become really, really cool. It's become all about sort of an integrated cross-park bit of placemaking.
We brought the Adventurers Club into this thing now, and Jock Lindsay, and explorers across the spectrum from Dr. Albert Falls to, like I said, Jock Lindsay and some of these other people. It's kind of a weird group of people, right?
I mean,
Mary Oceaneer.
Cool. It's very cool. Yeah, I mean, you can be like, oh yeah, like this carries on a global story. This water slide at Typhoon Lagoon carries on the same global story of something that's, in the Mystic Manor at Hong Kong Disneyland or something like that. That's a pretty fun way to integrate a broader sort of creative endeavor.
If you don't know anything about the Society of Explorers, I highly encourage looking it up, and like you can kind of get lost in the lore and who's who and where do they come from and how far back does it go, because it basically originates in like the 1800s, right? Like, Leonardo da Vinci.
There's like Leonardo was in it.
Yeah.
There's sort of like an Illuminati aspect to it, where it's this secret society of explorers, and it goes forward in time. So it captures time and geographic location, right? So the Jungle Cruise is threaded in there, and a lot of the Disney Sea experience is threaded in there, and I mean it's a cool thing.
Cool stuff. All right, so we've gotten through that. What is my strategy as walking through the park?
Did you get your Frozen priority pass?
I got my Frozen. Let's assume
so things really went your way.
Yeah, it really went my way.
Okay,
that's later in the afternoon.
Things really went your way.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I think the next step, I mean, you're walking into a park and you walk in through, it's a really interesting entry because you come from that big aquasphere area and you get funneled in through this very sort of narrow passageway, which gets you into Mediterranean Harbor, and that's the fictional land of Porto Paradiso, which is sort of an Italian coastal community. And it's a little bit modern, but it was definitely built several hundred years ago, but it's been adapted for sort of a more modern use. And that's where a lot of shopping and dining elements are, and that opens up to the harbor that's at the center of the park where the water show is.
So I want to just stop you right here real quick, because previously on an episode of the podcast, I vlogged last summer's trip. We did a cruise in the Mediterranean, and we were in a town called Hania, which is on the island of Crete in Greece. And I had a group of people with me, Lee, my girlfriend, my sister Hillary, Jill Diffendahl, who people might recognize from stories here, and Jill's remarked, like, look at the video, and we have, I don't know if Billy can find it, we have the video, and she's like, this looks just like Mediterranean.
I think that there's a number of towns in the Mediterranean, in Italy specifically, which were not only sort of deeply inspirational, but they capture that it's sort of the sort of yellows and those sort of hues of stucco and the red tile roofs and that contrast. I mean, it is picture perfect Mediterranean, particularly on a sunny day in Tokyo, which more often than not there's some sun. It really nails that, and
that's what I'm excited to see, because a lot of times when I see videos from Tokyo Disney Sea from Tokyo Disneyland, it looks a little gray. Like, the sky looks a little gray, and I'm just like, no, it's beautiful in person. I don't know why you always see it looking gray.
Yeah,
I picture like bright blue sky. I want bright blue sky and contrast. So I'm into that. So I don't know why I've just never seen that. I don't know if it looked just... I've seen bad videos, I don't know. Anyway, so I walk in Mediterranean Harbor. Check it out.
You can. I think you walk past most of Mediterranean Harbor. There's not really a lot of attractions in that Mediterranean. That's where the harbor show is. That's where all of your shopping is. There's a lot of dining experiences. There's,
any must-do dining experiences?
Whether or not there are must-do dining experiences at Tokyo Disney Resort or not, I can't really answer. Like, I think that it's all fine.
Yeah.
It's all theme park food. Like, the snacks are probably where it's at more than the, like, let's sit down and have the Japanese take on, like, spaghetti and meatballs. Because
I think Tom would say that, quite often one of the failures there is they try to approximate what they think an American theme park audience would eat.
I think there's lots of lenses of interpretation before you get to. So it's in this case.
坂谷さんの家に伝わるアコーディオン。
There's 3
あの人
Italian
に渡してあげよう。
in that land. There's
Are any of them worse than the Italy booth at Epcot for Festivus?
None of them are that bad.
Okay, good.
But also none of them are that
その
good.
頑固なおじさんたちの国って。
There's a lot of they're engineered for it's Italian food engineered for a Japanese palate, but it's not with that sort of level of attention to detail, attention to ingredients, or fussiness that makes it like really great sort of cuisine. It's still theme park food.
Okay, good.
But it's themed like yeah, it's approachable. It's a little weird, right? You're like, oh gosh, there's an awful lot of seafood in every one of these Italian dishes, which kind of makes sense. You're in a park called Disney Sea, and you're in a country that eats a lot of seafood, more so than we as a U.S. theme park going crowd eat. But do you want to spend like precious hours of your day making that happen in order to sit down at like?
I'm going to say no.
You're going to say no.
Because if I spend the precious hours of my day doing something that's not these attractions and soaking in the park, it's going to be a Teddy Roosevelt run.
That's right. That's the right decision. Right decision. So if you're me, you're walking in, and I'm usually a clockwise. In a castle park, I move clockwise. We talked about this on the Tokyo Disneyland episode. Disney Sea, I find myself moving counterclockwise.
Okay.
For whatever reason. Probably because my favorite land in any park anywhere is the first thing that we're going to walk to, which is Mysterious Island. But we have to walk all the way around the lagoon, up these sort of ridiculous stairs, because there's lots of changes in elevation. This is what you'll notice. Tokyo Disney Sea is a very large theme park, and it's a very stair-focused theme park. So it's all ADA accessible. Not that Japan has
ADA
right, but it's accessible for guests with disabilities, but not necessarily in like the easiest way.
Right.
So there's this weird staggered staircase up and around the harbor, and if you are in a wheelchair and you need to traverse it, you end up spending like 5 times as long walking on these sort of ridiculous switchbacks to get up those stairs. But that's still accessible, I guess.
Okay,
just
more
not
inconvenient.
Yeah. At the top is a relatively new attraction by Disney Sea standards, particularly pre-Fantasy Springs, and that's Soaring with a G. They added
Fantastic Flight.
Yes, they added the G finally, as opposed to the apostrophe, probably because again there's a language issue there. This, I feel, is tremendously popular with the Japanese domestic theme park going crowd. It's a priority pass,
エリオットが選んだアレンジ、とってもいい感じ。
or it's a lot of time spent in line.
これからもっといろんな人に聞いてもらえるといいね。
Interesting pre-show.
Is it the same film as
It is.
Soarin'?
It's Soarin' around the world with a Tokyo ending.
But a cool cue.
Cool pre-show. Cool cue. But again, like, you start asking yourself, is that worth? If it's your second time, if it's your third time to the resort, if you have a lot of time and you really like have an affinity for the attraction, I mean, if you have an affinity for anything or you're going multiple times, you're ignoring everything that I said because you've already figured it out and you have your own route and your own way of doing things. This is like you have a day. If you have like a day or a day and a half, how to efficiently move through the park and hit the absolute highlights. I think you leave that one on the cutting room floor.
Okay.
There's a good black pepper popcorn booth right outside it.
I love black pepper popcorn.
That's worth getting. That's absolutely worth getting. That's probably, like, if the line's not bad that early in the morning or at some point in the day, that's a stop.
Jason Diffendahl made some. He had a recipe or whatever and made some black pepper popcorn trying to approximate what he had at Tokyo Disney Sea, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. No, it's good popcorn flavor. Very simple, but, like, done... You gain you gain an appreciation for what pepper does as a flavor. It's really good.
めっちゃいい。はじめまして、山田由紀です。お、開いた。
すごく広い。足伸ばせるぐらい広いんですよね。めっちゃ楽しそう。
やりたいことは全部のせストリオ。
鈴木
But I think you're breezing by that.
Okay.
You're on like your
grabbing a popcorn and keeping it.
Yeah. Or maybe you're starting the day. I think the best way, like if you're doing like the best breakfast in Tokyo Disney Sea is in Mysterious Island. Again, I clearly have an agenda here.
Yes.
It's the gyoza sausage bun.
Okay.
Colloquially, gyoza dog.
Gyoza dog.
Yeah. Which is delightful.
It's just a snack. It's just a snack cart type of food, right?
It's a Nautilus Galley.
I'm not sitting down.
You could.
Okay.
You can. There's lots of sort of Mysterious Island, of course. Is
it's in
the caldera of a volcano. It's all steampunk themed, and that's where we're going. So you enter it by way of a cavern on the backside of that, and you can sort of break to the left, and there's Journey to the Center of the Earth. You can break to the right, and that's where 20,000 Leagues is. It's around its sort of own. It's a caldera, so there's a water feature down below. And of course, the park down below you is Captain Nemo's land. What's down there? The Nautilus is down there. You can't walk on it like in Paris, but you can look at it. And immediately adjacent to the Nautilus is, of course, the Nautilus Galley, which is where you can get your gyoza sausage bun. And a Kirin. So nothing says start the day off right.
Like a gyoza dog and a Kirin.
この中に何が入ってるんだろう。楽しみだね。
You're like, check, check, check.
I'm so excited.
Like, that's like peak Disney nerddom.
Yeah, that's the things, right? That, the 20K, the aesthetic. Obviously, Journey to the Center of the Earth, an attraction Tom talks about a lot. I think it's big. Do we want to talk about this?
Yeah, we should. I mean, we're going to take this land by land. At some point in time, you should take this into your day. It's either by doing sort of the run to standby wait, which at this point of the day is probably short enough to do that. Otherwise, priority pass. It's not one of the more expensive priority passes, and it's one that's often available for you to circle back and buy later in the day. It does help for the extra sort of $10, $12, whatever it is, whatever it sort of translates into in US dollars. It really does help keep wait times down, particularly where you're not there for a week, you're there for a couple days, or in this hypothetical, you're there for a day.
We're leaning heavily on the app.
It's pretty friendly. I think it's similar. I think it's pretty
English version.
It's all it's pretty friendly.
And because I'm using my phone all day, like here we use fuel rods. They have some sort of like charging swapping service.
I don't actually know that, do they? That's a good question. I've never used one. I carry an external, like an extra sort of rechargeable battery with me that will top me off at the end of the day.
I don't want to just fly overseas with 9 fuel rods if they're not going to be swappable.
I don't believe that there's sort of I don't think the fuel rods are there. But
yes, I am that guy that has a bunch of fuel rods. You can swap them. Just because we've covered
extra fuel rods. Yeah. You always end up with like, oh god, I need a fuel rod. Yeah. But I think like I think starting theme park experience is the right way is incredibly important. You're always going to remember like your first attraction at Disney Sea. You're always going to remember your first attraction at Tokyo Disneyland or whatever. Journey to the Center of the Earth seems like a pretty good start.
So I've seen the movie Journey to the
こ
Center
の
of the
魔石ならもっと冒
And
険の
I am
役に
aware
立ちそうだ
that
ね。
the attraction Journey to the Center of the Earth is essentially the same ride system as Test Track and Radiator Springs Racer.
こ
Right?
の場所
Different vehicle, same
But
ride.
調べれば何か見つかるかな。
Yeah. I mean,
Duh.
well,
この場所
it is
なんて
It is not crammed full of IP. It's not trying to sort of hit those beats. It is trying to be an immersive experience from beginning to end. So you walk through a queue that is sort of in and among volcanic rocks. Some of it is still active. There's some like lava effects and things like that. And there's all of this sort of journals and equipment and experiments from a scientific approach to studying the center of the Earth, like sort of gentleman scientists of the Victorian era. And you board, you end up getting on an elevator. And the elevator is sort of, it has nothing to do with the attraction other than it's a way to get to sort of the next, to the load area ultimately, which is on a different level than the queue, which sort of snakes through.
This isn't like a fake elevator, like the hydrolator type of deal.
No, it actually changes levels.
Okay.
Like for you to figure out how that, like I'm not giving that up, but you move from one level to another level, and there's all sorts of like dials and gauges and steam effects and shaking and sounds and things like that. And you're going down to the center of the Earth with your tour vehicle, because these are like, this is that classic 90s, early 2000s story where like Captain Nemo has invited you to the center of the Earth to tour what they're seeing until something goes horribly wrong. It's sort of, it's Dinosaur, essentially, right? Like,
Dinosaur test trip.
Board the ride vehicle, and you're going through sort of the various environs that take up the center of the Earth. You sort of, there's some exploration and some mining operations with all of these sort of fantastical creatures and weird visual effects, and think like the Avatar Land Boat ride. Navi River Journey.
Okay.
Or, colloquially in our house, the Blue Lady ride.
The Blue Lady ride.
Or the Night Night Boat. Yeah. And the further you get to the center of the Earth, you start sort of hearing chatter. Like the music is getting somewhat more intense, and some things are going wrong. Something has gone horribly wrong. And you look out over this underground sea, and some great sort of distracting visual effects happen, and then all of a sudden you find yourself sort of at the center of the Earth and confronting the sort of lava and the world's most perfect lava monster, right? And you confront the lava monster, and then your vehicle sort of instinctively runs away from the lava monster, and that's when you sort of speed up and out sort of through a volcanic chute, and sort of up a ramp, down a ramp, and then into unload. It's a very quick ride, actually. It's not sort of it's not like a 15-minute experience. It's just a few minutes, but it packs a lot into that.
So I have some concerns about this whole experience, which is going to be, we're with a large group of people. I don't know if we're all going to be experiencing everything together. We're going to split into small groups. I'm going to want to spend an awful lot of time in Mysterious Island. I feel like aesthetically it's my vibe. It's all the things I love.
I think that's right, and I think that's the litmus test for friends, right?
Yeah.
You pick the people who want to pick that as well. So like, if you're not a Mysterious Island person, do I even want to spend time with you?
I mean, I feel like there's going to be some other areas worth spending a lot of time to.
Yeah, sure. Fortunately, we're not doing this for just one day. Because we'd be all sorts of screwed if we were. Should we talk about?
I'm going to ride this with you. I want to ride this with you.
Okay. Are we talking about 20,000 Leagues, even though it's closed?
Yes, I want to talk about 20,000 Leagues. Obviously, someone here would think you're loading into a big Nautilus that you see going around, in a big lake, and you're actually underwater. They sort of simulate bubbles. This is sort of taking that to a level where you're not actually in water, but you feel like you're underwater, which I think is something I wanted to experience because it doesn't seem like it'd be very convincing to me.
Dry for wet.
Right.
Dry for wet. Yeah. No, it's very convincing. So there's a water element to the attraction, but it's really only just a little area. It makes it look like you're submerging and diving, and you get into these baby nautilon, I guess you'd call them. Nautiluses.
Alvin of the Alvin version.
Right, so it's all of the sort of Harper-Goff styling, but it's sort of boxier and it's like the sort of subcompact version of the Nautilus, and it seats, I don't know, 6 people. So it's one of those interesting seating arrangements where it's there's a porthole to the left, a porthole to the right, and a porthole to the front. And dry for wet, you plunge down, and the story is, until something goes horribly wrong, you're just taking you on a journey under the sea. And so in a very here style, you're going through a graveyard of shipwrecks and seeing how all of these very cute sea life, octopus and fish and that sort of thing, are interacting with the relics of the and you get a little, when prompted, you have a little joystick which is attached to a searchlight, and you can move it around the scene, and it allows you to sort of shine and illuminate things. So, which is very like a not Disney approach to things, right? Like the Disney approach is, we're going to light this way so that it can be seen from a very specific way and specific vantage point for a specific period of time. And this says, like, our set making is advanced enough and we spent enough money in the detail that we're happy to have you shine a bright light on whatever fake seabed you want. It's kind of cool. And little like limited motion figures. Of course, like it wouldn't be a 20,000 Leagues ride if you weren't attacked by a giant squid. There you go. And that's where things go horribly wrong. You end up sort of losing power, and you descend further than you could have possibly descended, further than it's safe to descend, and you don't have power or sort of oxygen, and you know the gauges inside the cabin tell lots of stories. And you come across an Atlantean people.
Is Captain Nemo speaking to me in English?
No, he's speaking to you in Japanese, which makes the ride much more interesting, because then if you don't speak Japanese, it's 100% subject to your interpretation. You know, I think like so many of these attractions as a non-Japanese speaker, the first couple times I experienced them, I definitely developed a plot line in my head, which was perhaps more interesting, but not remotely the plot line that was actually taking place for the Japanese guests who were sitting next to me.
So mad
メーカー部品はまとめてミスに、メーカーごとの見積もり納期確認に手間がかかりがち。ミスにならメーカー品もウェブで使用確認可能。価格も納期もすぐわかる。SMC も DHQ もオムロンもメーカー部品はまとめてミスに。まずはミスにで検索。
このトゲトゲ壊せそうじゃない？
力強さとか世界で一番信用できる。
滑って転ばないようにね。
This is really representing freedom.
みんながワクワクするような世界になればいいなと思います。
The power of dreams. How we move you.
So, it's my favorite ride in the park, but that's because I'm a 20K guy. I'm like a It was actually the first ride one time. I think that was my first Disney Sea ride. It was sort of like that was a fast pass. It was like, well, get a fast pass for Journey and do 20K in the meantime, and that's how it became my first ride, and it's still my favorite, mostly because of these Atlantean creatures. So
I've been meaning
you end up
know what language I speak.
No. Introduced to you in Japanese are these Atlantean creatures that live in the deepest depths in this lost continent, and there are all of these sort of details of the rise and decline of their empire, told through sort of hieroglyphics and paintings and temple rooms and things like that. And you see these sort of they're like cartoon for want of a better term. They're fish-like, amphibians, but they're cartoonish at the same time and very cute. And they're sort of popping up out of things and like hiding as you pass, and then finally you just when you're sort of wholly deprived of oxygen and power and you never know how you're going to get back to the surface, something pushes you from behind, and the Atlanteans have the power of these crystals. Crystal powers.
It better not be Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, it's you know what? As you say, it's very Jar Jar-like in terms of character design. Very similar. There was a moment for that character, and it was like 2001-ish, And that's what it was. But the Atlanteans thrust you back to the surface, and you see this sort of projection effect where it's your submarine up and out. You go through these sort of sparkly lights because nothing says transformative, like strobe lights. Boom, you're back at the surface, and Captain Nemo says, like, you know, no one will ever believe that you're going to, like, that you saw what you saw. Like, the sea is full of wondrous mysteries. Don't tell anyone about them. You know, something like that. The usual
I've already had a full theme park. I don't even need to see the rest.
Well, that's good. We've burned through like 30 minutes of this podcast talking about this. So
Let's get, okay, we will.
Should we keep going? We should keep going,
we
right?
should go. Keep going, but we can speed up a little bit.
Okay.
I'm nerding out on myself because this is like
イリオットが負けるわけないもん。
I'm gonna fall in love with it.
I think it's a really cool area. There's also a restaurant, Volcania, counter service restaurant with tables and stuff. It's Chinese food. It's not my favorite. We'll sneak in there, take a look around. Nice restroom.
Okay, good bathroom.
Good bathroom tip. I'd skip the food. Move on to.
So I'm hauling multiple things around with me, by the way. I need a hand towel to dry my hands after I wash them because they don't provide paper towels.
That's also what your pants are for. You're, you know.
And I got my little parade mat or whatever that you carry around with you when you need to sit down.
Yes. I mean, if you are a proper Japanese going park attendee, you should have multiple tote bags full of things in preparation for any potential. Yeah. Well, multiple tote bags. Maybe 2, perhaps 3.
Okay.
Full of things. And onigiri, like emergency sort of rice triangle, just in case you need a snack. A bottle of tea, Nitoan, or whatever your choice is. These are the things you need to have. So. Japanese
feel very out
guys.
No tote bags.
No tote bags. Out the back of Mysterious Island sort of takes you past a pretty good churro cart that sells potato-flavored churros. Okay. I recommend it. Long line, usually.
Potato-flavored churro?
Yeah, it's a potato churro.
Does it like have like salt on it? Like a...
Yeah, it's a salt. Yeah, it's like it's a savory churro, but not sort of super flavorful. Like a giant sort of crispy yet squishy potato stick. And it gets you to Mermaid Lagoon, kind of. There's a walkway through a really sort of, it's like the best themed hallway. It's, you know, you're walking through a hallway that is a mountain. And it opens up into sort of Mermaid Lagoon on its way to Arabian Coast. We'll take Mermaid Lagoon next. I would generally say circle back to this later in the day. It's a really great place to go if it's raining because most of Mermaid Lagoon is an interior land in the park. With the entryway, you walk past a statue of King Triton. There's also a chariot. And you go down and all of a sudden you're into this giant open area, this kingdom of Twilight. The ultimate manifestation of dry for wet. You are under the sea in like a very The Little Mermaid style of under the sea, sort of the cartoon version of being under the sea. There's all sorts of like super cute E-ticket, like sort of kiddie rides. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it,
dark rides.
They're not really dark rides, but they're rides in the dark. It's sort of like it spins around on the ground, it goes up and down, sort of carnival style ride, but with really sort of cute thematic elements. Everything looks like a fish from Little Mermaid. There's a great playground where you're essentially Ariel and you're exploring the plot of the movie, and there's some cool Ursula effects and things like that. Totally okay as an adult to walk through that playground. Lots and lots of adults. It's very like big people friendly, sort of tall people friendly, which is not always the case with Disney playgrounds, but that one. And then there's I think there used to be a like Little Mermaid concert attraction, like a show. I think it's closed still. It has That's okay.
戦うしかないみたい。
None of that. That land is worth walking through. That land is worth spending a little bit of time in just to sort of say, like, this is a theme park land that's built entirely indoors. That land, at least for me, even as a sort of fan of that Little Mermaid aesthetic, is not like must-dos.
Okay.
エリオットはやっぱり強い
At the
ね。
back of that, sort of at the back of the park, is a ravine coast, which is very much Aladdin inspired. It is, if Agrabah was built adjacent to the water, the Magic Lamp Theater is a sort of comedy magic show that's located in that land. It is conducted entirely in Japanese. The jokes are entirely in Japanese, and the humor is entirely Japanese. From a cultural perspective, it's worth seeing at some point. It's not like a top cut for me. There's a double level carousel, which is Aladdin themed, which is very cute and very charming. If there's not a line, that's something that I would just circle back and do later in the day.
エリオットが氷で動けなくなっちゃった。
It's just totally slipped my mind, but there are games of chance and skill to like throw the ball go somewhere. I think it's 500 yen per play. Those are a lot of fun. Usually have a bit of a line, but it's totally worth like spending 15 or 20 minutes because for the 500 yen, if you lose, you get a pin that you can only get at those games, and those change seasonally.
Let me guess who has all the
Ooh, can't imagine.
Couldn't be Tom.
I bet he does.
Where's Tom's consolation pin collection? I'm sure we have it in something.
Sometimes you want to because you run out of luggage space and then you accidentally win a game and you have to negotiate for why you don't want the giant plush that you put in. You're just, I didn't mean to, and a difficult conversation to have without Japanese language skills. In that land, those, of course, other attraction, which is like an incredibly charming sort of like, think of like, what if Small World had like
a recurring tiger mascot,
a plot with a recurring tiger mascot, and like just an insane amount of animatronic, the number of animatronic figures per square foot is just like off the charts. And so it tells the story of Sinbad and his voyage of essentially global commerce, sort of trading and picking up one thing for the next, going from port to port. He's accompanied by Chandu, sort of tiger friend, sailing seller merchandise, and the Compass of Your Heart song, which there's 2 lines in English that you get in your head and they sort of repeat constantly. I'm sorry that it's closed because it's sort of like the easy thing to do. It sort of always has like a 5-minute or 10-minute wait. If like the Chandu ride takes 20 minutes, you know it's a bad day in the park. But it's just, you know, you're sitting in like sort of a Small World style, pirate style ride. It's like a, you know, just a going through the flume, doing the thing, and like you get like 10 or 15 minutes of like, song-aided animatronic enhanced bliss. Okay. Like slow, and it's like it's a great piece for interaction. And really cute and very much original and one of those things where you're like, well, I understand why they only did this once, but I'm sure that
Poor Chandu. Hopefully they still have merchandise.
I hope so, because otherwise that man is fully bereft of anything.
Okay, where are we going next?
Where should we go? I mean, Fantasy Springs is probably the next place to go if we're sort of following the map.
Okay,
or should we save it for the end?
Well, I will just preempt you a little bit and say I'm very familiar with Fantasy Springs. Releasing those videos. I was getting the videos prepped for release, watching them intently. I'm pretty familiar, and I will say the highlights to me, number one, the level of detail.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And best appreciated in that because the way WDI lit those things with like the water effects and the smoke effects and the steam effects and the lighting effects, you really see sort of the details that you didn't notice.
諦めずに行こう。敵の様子が変わったよ。私たちも気合を入れないと。
I mean, let's see like hot takes on those attractions. It's Frozen first, right? Frozen, that attraction is one of the best sort of Disney character-driven attractions that I think you could. It's and it follows the. Apparently, Frozen attractions have certain notes that they have to hit. You need to go. You need to be a water. You need to culminate with Let It Go. And you need to change direction and go backwards for a period of time after Let It Go is sung.
That's the main thing. At some point you're good
Tokyo adds to that in that you change directions a couple times and you end up being sort of multiple levels of water fluid attraction further down multiple levels. Figures really you're going to come off it and be like, well, when can I do that again?
I've watched it. You can watch it on our discount.
やばそうな攻撃が来る。いい感じじゃない？この調子で行こう。
Yeah, and I've watched it a few times and rewound it. It's pretty.
I think that's the hit of that layout, right? That's one of the hits of the entire resort. Next for me, number 2 is probably the Peter Pan attraction. Cool ride system.
It kind of reminds me of when people talk about pirates and like heavy video effects.
There's a lot of screen, right? So we're relying on a lot of screens, but there's a lot of physical set as well, and they're very nicely integrated into one another. My first time on that attraction, I was slightly it was sort of a rural show that doesn't quite have the nostalgia of Peter Pan's flight, and it didn't really sort of rock my socks off.
It's
like simple practical effects, like novel, practical effects.
I think as I have gone on that attraction, on more than one occasion, on multiple visits to the resort, it has really grown on me and crept into that number 2 position because it is actually, the queue is amazing. And coming into Neverland, the pre-show is really cool. Before Lost Boys element is kind of fun. All of the characters are there. It's sort of handled very well. It's just a fun attraction. And from a visual effects and movement, and it does actually sort of transport you to sort of the high highs of like what a trip to Neverland should be. So like number 2. Number 3 is obviously the Tango attraction, ride, whatever you call it. It's really short. I mean, it's a great ride. It's absolutely a must-do for that park.
For a really long time.
Yes.
When they're doing the.
But that's what you want to do actually, because everything else is just sort of like. And then once you're done with that, you're like, well, just get it off. Because it's sort of like the attraction conceived and built from let's put in the middle of the Lantern Festival with Rapunzel and Flynn Rider, and let's create that moment as possible. And then the rest of it is, well, how do I get you there? Do I take you through sort of the highlights of the story? Do I sort of introduce you, which is what it does in sort of classic dark ride fashion. You're sort of seeing top-line story elements and some really cool visual effects, really great placemaking, some nice outdoor portions. That attraction has some sort of outdoor scenes with the Rapunzel Tower and the Flynn and Maximus figures. Really nice animatronics, cool figure designs. But it's a very short attraction. It's just a few minutes long. It's like maybe 4 minutes, give or take.
We're here in this land just to go to the Snuggly Duckling, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I want to go to the Snuggly Duckling.
The Snuggly Duckling is like my number 2 in terms of food. It's okay. It's not great. Again, that's very sort of like the Japanese take on very sort of American style theme park food. Cool theming, probably not my favorite food in all the land. Better than the Frozen restaurant, which is the Japanese take on the American Scandinavian cuisine. So then you're like 3 degrees of separation from like source material, and you're eating interesting textures, interesting flavors, and wondering why.
どこまでいけるかな。
見損ないましたレイク。レイクに？はい、レイクのあれに怒ってます。
レイクのあれ、そうですね、今までレイクでお金を借りたことがない方なら、なんと1年間利息0円でお金を貸してくれるサービスのことですよね。
変わってしもうだなレイクもな。変わってしもう。なんか昔のレイクはもっと尖ってたよ。尖ってた。
レイク、貸付条件をご確認の上、ご利用は計画的に。不利息の適用条件は右で。エリオットが氷で動けなくなっちゃった。
Yeah.
この中に何が入ってるんだろう。
Also very short,
楽しみだね。
very cute, sort of a charitable sea ticket attraction. I think sea ticket probably gives it a lot of credit. If it's under 20 or 30 minutes worth of wait, then yeah, you absolutely do it. My favorite food is Lookout Cookout in that land, which is not a popular opinion. It's always sort of mobile orderable, and it's, you know, which is like the quickest and easiest way to skip the walk-up line. They have a great sort of melon and star soda, which I'm not usually one for the sort of sparkling beverage. I'm not in the sparkling beverage crowd. I prefer to, my beverages have a little more bite to them. But, this one is an exception to that. And then they have this weird snack box, this sort of themed, and it's the chicken tenders, it's sort of like karaage, fried chicken, and it's either lemon tea flavored or curry flavored. Both are delicious. Great little snack, great little pick me up. Not a full meal, so like eat it, keep going, keep moving. Like that's what this day is about, is sort of like food in motion.
Right, and then obviously a beautiful land worth taking in for a long time and checking out all the details.
Yeah, I think like do your attractions by day and give a walk around it, and then circle back later at night and see it really come alive at night, because it's one of those lands that the show that matters and the mystery of it, right? If it's your first time there, the idea of the unknown and sort of where darkness and light sort of confront one another is really pretty. There's a mysteriousness to it that makes it really fantastic as a land.
All right, where am I going next?
You're probably going, as we're continuing our counterclockwise way around the park, you're coming up on Lost River Delta next. You're approaching it not from the right-hand side, which isn't the Indiana Jones side, it's the Raging Spirit side.
Raging Spirits is a sort of
It's, yeah, similar. It's sort of your classic, this was like a capacity expansion project for Disney Sea. They needed sort of hourly capacity, they needed something that was a little thrilling for that set of guests. It's fine. It's an archaeological dig temple themed roller coaster. You've been on one, you've been on 100. Unless you have like sort of a real affinity for that, that's in that gray area of like, could you have a great Disney and skip this? Probably yeah.
Okay. What next?
Yeah, Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Crystal Skull, unaffiliated with the film.
Is it?
Yeah. It existed before the film did.
Okay. Same skull? Same like elongated alien skull?
No, this is a more conventional crystal skull, which you confront in a really cool scene.
What's this ride system?
It's the Indy ride system from Disneyland. It's Dinosaur, okay. Yeah, but done really, really well. Sort of like the best Indy ride, the best effects, the best sort of queue area, the best everything.
High competition for riding.
Long lines. Yeah, but here's a good tip is that there's a single rider line. There's a signpost with a single rider line, but it's not immediately apparent. Sort of what you do after that, you have to have a conversation with a cast member. You get in the single rider line, and I don't think I've ever spent more than 10 minutes waiting in that single rider line, maybe 15 minutes.
Single rider it is.
Super easy, because there is a Japanese sort of, when you're going to the parks with your friends, which like theme park going is a sort of friends and family activity, you want to do things as collective experiences in Japan. I don't.
We're splitting up.
I don't care that much about my friends. I'm like, I'd rather do this on my own. We can talk about it afterwards.
We can hang out a lot later.
We can hang out at, we'll go to, we'll hang out afterwards at Teddy Roosevelt and talk all about it.
Right.
There's a couple okay counter service restaurants. There's sort of a grilled or barbecued chicken leg, which is like the snack of choice in this. Like, absolutely get that. It is delicious.
Sort of like their Bengal barbecue.
It's a good bit of protein, and you can, again, if we're moving and eating, which you should never do in Japan because it's rude, you should stand in one place and eat very quickly, deposit our trash, and then move. But in terms of quick bites, quick protein, not bad on the wall. That's it. That's a delicious option. Okay. Over across the river, let's jump over across the river. There's a river that sort of bisects Lost River Delta, because it wouldn't be Lost River Delta without a river. There's a Mexican restaurant which has been taken over by Duffy. It's a true story. It was just
Duffy took over a Mexican restaurant.
You know, it was an honest sort of salt of the earth Mexican establishment that served some of the blandest attempts at Mexican food that one from the West could possibly imagine, and in that way it was interesting.
And then Duffy came in,
and then Duffy came as part of his expansion plan, and very firmly planted his cute bear-faced flag.
Duffy offers you his protection.
So under the protection of Duffy, it's Mexican food that's now sort of vaguely shaped like Duffy, right? So when Duffy takes over a restaurant, everything has to be sort of reminiscent of the characters and the season that the characters are celebrating, whatever that might be.
All right. Are we still in Lost River Delta?
No, we're gonna get out of. We'll get out of Lost River Delta.
Let's I know we're a little pressed for time.
So let's
skip any minor attractions and hit me with the highlights of the rest of the lands we're going to.
Port Discovery is next.
Port Discovery, okay.
This one's fairly quick, because Port Discovery is this sort of futuristic, like, think of like mid-90s Epcot decided to have an aquatic love child.
There.
Yeah. So it's like the entire land soundtrack is Epcot music, effectively.
You have Liquid Magic?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. But Nemo and Friends Sea Rider replaced Storm Rider, which is a simulator where you are in a fish vehicle. It gets shrunk down to the size of fish. That's all it means. It's sort of like the Nemo version of Star Tours in Japanese. Not my favorite. Worth doing, maybe, but not my favorite. I have a very soft spot for the other attraction in that land, which is Aquatopia. It is the trackless ride system, the sort of like Winnie the Pooh and that sort of Honey Hunt and that sort of thing are built on. But it is really just sort of this
water.
There's like 3 inches of water, and it is an otherwise like pointless journey around the land. But it is such a wonderful like opportunity to just sort of like sit down and take in the fact that like the ocean is this way, the real ocean, a volcano is this way, and it is just like chock full of thematic elements. Great in the evening, like it's a great sort of dusk into, and like not worth more than a 20-minute wait, like totally skippable otherwise. A nice easy way out of that land and into New York Harbor, or the American waterfront, sort of the New York area, is to take the electric railway, which is an elevated train that goes between the two lands, and you get like a great so much of this park is about taking in those long shots because they're pretty magnificent, and this is a great way to do that and see sort of things play out. So as you continue counterclockwise from Port Discovery, you're into American Waterfront. American Waterfront is roughly divided between two lands. One part of the land is sort of very Cape Cod themed, sort of coastal New England in nature. Originally, that was just this weird sort of afterthought offshoot of a land. It had like a sort of New England lumberjack singing show in it. This was like the first thing to be taken over by the Greater Duffy Empire, and so Duffy firmly planted his flag in the American Waterfront. And
he's like the Peaky Blinders of Tokyo.
In certain ways, yeah. It's a constant battle for territory and sort of launch exploratory ventures into certain territories. I think that's what his inroad into Lost River Delta is. But I mean, his base of operation and where all of his boys and girls hang out is this sort of Cape Cod area of American Waterfront. And there's a Duffy show that in order to see the show, you have to buy food, you have to reserve that in advance. That's worth doing at some point in your life, particularly if you're a Duffy fan. I like this show.
I am intrigued by the Duffyverse and all the associated characters and their presence throughout the global Disney park.
Like Duffy Period?
I like the idea of all these bizarre characters where cats hang out with bears, who hang out with foxes, who hang out with what other creatures there are. And I think that the Japanese obsession, the Asian obsession, sort of it's more popular in Asia than it is here, right? A turtle from Hawaii, that these are all friends and they get together and they do something, and you have a cat. Best I can tell, an Italian painter who paints with his tail. Like, I love that. They're so quirky and offbeat that I don't necessarily really need like a full show of them. I just love the sort of obsession with them and the idea of how absurd they are.
Definitely worth then walking through Aunt Peg's village. So Aunt Peg, I believe, is like the originator of the Duffy Empire. So she very shrewdly was selling Disney-themed handicrafts in 2001 when the park opened, and realizing that like no one really cared about like what a New England wood carving version of Mickey was, or I assume Aunt Peg decided that maybe if I just convert my entire store into like a Duffy operation, I would be better off. So that is ground central in terms of the Duffydom. And that is still where you go for the latest and greatest in Duffy merchandise. Progressing sort of from that, there's not much there. There's Duffy, and there's Duffy restaurant. That's where you get on the. There's a great there's a waterway that ties the park together. And that area that's sort of is a great place to board there's a boat that lets you take in those from the water itself. So I would suggest doing that during some downtime when the Lions Brothers get long. Really helps you sort of survey the park. But I would continue over the bridge that links the Cape Cod part of American Waterfront to sort of the sort of more New York themed bit of American Waterfront, which is New York in the 1920s. And there's definitely sort of there's the fake version of like a working dock where like with longshoremen and offloading things and that sort of thing. That's where Tower of Terror is. So that's where the High Tower Hotel and Harrison High Tower and Shurikia Tundu, a fantastic adaptation. Right, the song is never going to work for a Japanese audience. They didn't know what that was properly as a TV show. This was a really cool way to sort of get that ride system and get the story of the sort of haunted abandoned hotel into that park in a really sort of spooky way that puts it in like the Haunted Mansion Mystic Manor canon of spooky attractions.
Can you settle something for me? Because what I've been told is like this is a much more tame version of the Tower of Terror.
It is a much more tame version of the Tower of Terror.
I'm going to need people to help me sell that to Lee. because I accidentally sold Mission Breakout as like a more bouncy and fun version of the Tower of Terror and not. And then we went and whatever version we got, it was horrifying. We'll never forgive me for it. For me, I'm selling it as like a toned down Tower of Terror.
This is a toned down, very heavily padded version of Tower of Terror. I have been on elevators in real Tokyo that are more thrilling and certainly move a lot faster than this. And even if you hate the drop thing, you deal with it because it's Joe Rogan playing Harrison Hightower, and like those beats sucking through the of the sort of drop ride system.
Okay.
Next in American Waterfront is Midway Mania, by way of utterly skippable.
エリオットが氷で動けなくなっちゃった。
Crowd. Identical, direct lift. If like the walk into the land, the little sort of subland is a very cute sort of Coney Island theme to it. Super charming, great details. Don't get in line for the ride.
Okay, good.
You've seen it. It's the same thing. There's nothing new to it. Big Band is the big sort of Broadway
special trito as
Hey,
they say.
I think Japanese people say that in English.
生命のかけらだ。そうそう。
Yeah.
冒険の道しるべを見つけたら、
Really fun.
忘れずに立ち寄らないと。
Used to be something that it's no longer. So COVID sort of had its way with changes in that show that made it sort of tighter and sort of less entertainment-y, less sort of razzle-dazzle, sort of Cole Porter Broadway spectacular, but nonetheless, still a really cool thing.
Anything goes? Anything goes?
I'm a big fan of anything goes. Kiss Me Kate.
Yeah.
Show within a show. I love anything that has a show within a show. I mean, how can you not? What's next? I think we're almost done.
We talk about Teddy Roosevelt.
The Columbia. We forgot about a whole big ship that's, like so,
is it analog to the Columbia Disneyland?
奥に出口があるのかな?
It is not. It is
進んでみようよ。
USS Columbia is
エリオットならやれるよ。
in the original version of the Disney Sea Park when it was in Long Beach. It was because Disney owned the Queen Mary, which was a proper ocean. And they were going to use that as the centerpiece of this sort of part of the land. The Oriental Land Company, Tokyo Disney Resort didn't have like a spare ocean liner sitting around, so they just built one. And the purpose of the ocean liner is it has a promenade deck that you can walk around. It has a restaurant inside it, which is a sit-down restaurant, American style, sort of like something you find on an ocean liner. Good, not great. But it has the pinnacle Disney bar of all time by way of sort of thematic elements and just sort of what it is. So it's like perfect turn-of-the-century style bartending and in a lounge that is entirely themed after the life and time of President Theodore Roosevelt. It is his entire life. So there's sort of animal carvings and taxidermy-looking things all over the place. In a dark paneled interior, the bar is held up by a series of carved bears, each sort of holding it up or doing a different thing. The room is decorated. Sort of very well-known Imagineer and great Frank Armitage did these fantastic depictions of the life of Teddy Roosevelt, like from infancy through sort of the presidency and like parenthood and things like that. So it's like him as a boxer, him as a rough rider, him as a president, him as a hunter, him as a family man. You like really.
So, like half of this, you had me thinking like Territory Lounge, right? Your first like half of the description,
like a classy, not quite that.
A little bit more intimate and classy.
This is a little more upscale, a little more sort of like the city slicker version of Territory Lounge. So less Western, more sort of the Eastern, like sort of New England, should be on a steamship version of evoking the spirit of the American West, but doing so by celebrating the sort of personality and the visage of Teddy Roosevelt, someone who most of Japan knows utterly nothing about.
Correct.
So this is entirely for you, Eric. Like, this bar is for Eric and only Eric, and everyone is just a guest.
That's great. And I heard they have some decent bourbon choices there, so.
Yep, it's an American bar, so wouldn't they have American whiskey?
Of course.
As they should. Rest of American waterfront. Oh, I guess wedged in the hull of the ship that's not a ship is Turtle Talk with Crush.
Oh, come on. No, you just ruined the whole park.
Another skippable attraction. It's in Japanese. So if you... I suppose.
I want to know how to say, like, hey, little dude in a blue shell in Japanese.
And if you can figure out from that presentation how to do that, it's probably worth your time. That's not something my linguistic skills have ever been capable of picking up on. So there you have it. Turtle Talk, time better spent elsewhere, I would say. Let's continue sort of pressing on our counterclockwise journey. We're working our way back. We're almost done. We're working our way back.
Stick with us, folks.
We're working our way back.
Where's the camera? It's over there. Stick with us, folks.
I swear, we're almost done. Like, we're just coming down the home stretch. Lots of, like, good shopping.